Imagine this. You awaken one morning to find that the world you believed you knew is nothing more than a facade, a carefully constructed theater of rules, routines, and expectations designed to keep you safe and docile. The familiar rhythm of your daily life, the gentle hum of conformity, suddenly seems like a shackle. You start to wonder, what if everything you've been taught is a lie? What if the freedom you long for is hidden behind layers of illusion, just waiting for you to tear them down? In the deep recesses of your mind, a quiet yet insistent voice asks, is this really all there is? You watch as people around you move through life with a resigned acceptance, as though the dreams they once held dear have been slowly smothered by the pressures of society. They cling to roles and routines, chasing the same safe, unremarkable goals day after day. And yet, something vital seems missing, as if a part of their soul remains unfulfilled, quietly yearning for something greater. Now, picture a man who laughs in the face of these invisible chains, a man whose very existence defies the status quo. He is seen as reckless, even foolish, by those who value order over chaos. His name is Monkey D. Luffy, and he sails the vast, unpredictable seas with nothing but a straw hat and an unyielding belief in the impossible. To the world, he is nothing more than a pirate chasing treasure. But to those who dare to dream, he is a beacon of hope, a living testament that the truest form of wealth is not found in gold or power, but in the fearless pursuit of one's own destiny. Freedom, that single, resonant word echoes through the void of conformity. But what is freedom really? Is it merely the absence of rules, or is it something deeper, a state of being where the soul is unburdened by the weight of expectation and fear? And if freedom is indeed the ultimate goal, why do so many choose the comfort of chains over the risk of living fully? One Piece challenges everything we think we know about life and destiny. It dares you to question the very fabric of reality, to confront the paradox that true freedom is as terrifying as it is liberating. In a world where everyone is programmed to obey, to conform, to accept the mundane as the norm, what does it mean to truly live? And why is it that the one who dares to defy every norm becomes the most compelling symbol of hope? Consider this. Every visionary throughout history, every man and woman who dared to challenge the established order, was once labeled a fool. Galileo was condemned for daring to question the cosmos. Nietzsche's radical ideas were met with scorn and misunderstanding. And yet, history now remembers them as heroes of change. The same is true for the rebels and outcasts who, like Luffy, reject a predetermined destiny in favor of forging their own paths. So, I ask you, what chains are binding you right now? Are they forged by the expectations of your family, the stifling norms of society, or the quiet, pervasive doubts planted deep within your own mind? Perhaps you've sensed that there is more to life than what has been laid out for you, a possibility that has been buried beneath years of obedience and resignation. This is the great question that One Piece poses to us all. What does it mean to be free? And in a world built on deception and quiet control, are you ready to tear down the walls of illusion and chase a dream that seems impossible? Why is it that so many of us settle for lives that feel predetermined and unremarkable? Why do we allow the subtle forces of society to dictate our desires, our ambitions, even our very sense of identity? The answer lies deep within our psyche, intertwined with the philosophical debates that have echoed through the ages. Friedrich Nietzsche warned us about this slave morality, a mindset that teaches us to value obedience and safety over the bold pursuit of our dreams. From the moment we are born, society begins to mold us. We are taught to fear the unknown, to prefer the comfort of the familiar, and to accept the limits imposed by a world that fears change. This conditioning is so deeply ingrained that many of us never even realize we are living a life that is not truly our own. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow self, the part of us that contains our hidden desires, our deepest fears, and the untapped potential that we are often too afraid to acknowledge. To live fully, we must confront this shadow, embrace the parts of ourselves that society tells us to hide. Yet, for most, this confrontation is too daunting. We retreat into the roles and routines that have been prescribed for us, never daring to question the deeper truths that lie within. In One Piece, the character of Luffy represents this very challenge. Unlike those who conform to the expectations around them, he embraces every part of himself, the audacity, the recklessness, even the vulnerability. He rejects the safe, predictable path laid out by a society that prizes order above all else. Instead, he chooses to chase an impossible dream, forging his own destiny on the unpredictable seas. But there is a darker undercurrent here. The hidden problem is not merely about the suppression of dreams. It is about the subtle yet powerful control that society exerts over our minds. The structures of power, from governments to cultural institutions, work tirelessly to keep us compliant. They rewrite history, suppress dissent, and manipulate the narrative so that the status quo remains unchallenged. In doing so, they create a reality where the pursuit of true freedom is seen as a dangerous, even subversive, act. Reflect on the world around you. How many times have you heard someone dismiss a bold idea as impractical, labeling it as a childish fantasy? How many times have you been told that real life is about stability, not adventure? This is the legacy of what Nietzsche called the herd mentality, a collective surrender of individual thought in favor of a safety that, in reality, is nothing more than a gilded cage. Yet, even as the forces of conformity tighten their grip, there is an undeniable undercurrent of resistance, a yearning for a life lived on one's own terms. It is this inner rebellion, this quiet defiance, that One Piece celebrates. The series doesn't just entertain, it challenges you to reconsider everything you thought you knew about freedom, destiny, and the price of a life unexamined. So, as you stand at the crossroads of conformity and rebellion, ask yourself, are you living a life that has been dictated by others? Or are you daring to follow the call of your own, untamed spirit? The chains that bind us are not always visible. Often, they are woven into the very fabric of our daily lives, imperceptible until we take a step back and examine them. Most people live their lives without ever realizing that the very habits and routines that offer comfort are also the ones that imprison them. They wake up, follow the familiar path to work, return home, and repeat the cycle day after day. In this cycle, creativity, passion, and the pursuit of true freedom are slowly smothered by the mundane. In the world of One Piece, control is exercised not through brute force, but through the subtle art of suppression. The world government, with its iron grip on knowledge and history, is a perfect metaphor for the unseen forces at work in our own lives. Rather than ruling solely with physical power, it dominates by controlling information, by erasing inconvenient truths, and by ensuring that only the approved version of reality is allowed to exist. This is the essence of true tyranny, not the violence of open oppression, but the quiet, insidious manipulation of truth. Now, consider your own life. How many of your dreams have been quietly buried under the weight of practicality? How many aspirations have been sacrificed at the altar of routine and comfort? This is the unseen consequence of a society that values safety over innovation, compliance over courage. It is a reality where the pursuit of something extraordinary is often dismissed as unrealistic, and where the boldest ideas are labeled as mere fantasies. The cost of this invisible tyranny is profound. By accepting a life dictated by others, we lose not only the chance to explore our true potential, but we also become complicit in maintaining a system that thrives on our complacency. The subtle art of control is most effective when we are unaware of it, when we don't question the very norms that govern our existence. It is only when we awaken to this hidden truth that the possibility of genuine liberation begins to emerge. Aldous Huxley once noted that the most potent forms of control are those that sedate the mind, distracting us with trivial pursuits while the mechanisms of power work in the background. In our modern world, these distractions come in many forms: endless streams of media, consumerism, and the relentless pace of everyday life. They serve to keep us from ever questioning the deeper forces at play. But here's the paradox. The very things that make us feel secure and connected are often the ones that keep us locked in a prison of our own making. The routines that structure our lives are both our comfort and our cage. And while it may seem easier to continue down the familiar path, every moment spent in complacency is a moment stolen from the possibility of true freedom. So, as you reflect on your own existence, consider the unseen consequences of living a life without questioning. How many of your most cherished dreams have been sacrificed at the altar of normalcy? And what might you achieve if you were to cast aside the invisible chains and dare to imagine a life where every moment is driven by passion, curiosity, and the relentless pursuit of your own truth? The path to true freedom is not paved with comfort or certainty. It is a road fraught with risks, steeped in uncertainty, and illuminated only by the daring spark of rebellion. To break free from the invisible chains of conformity, you must be willing to unlearn everything you have been taught. You must question every rule, challenge every norm, and embrace the chaos of the unknown. In the universe of One Piece, the true pirates do not sail the seas merely in search of treasure. They set out on a quest to redefine what is possible. They reject the dictates of a world that tells them to follow a predetermined course, choosing instead to chart their own destiny with each daring act. Luffy, in his reckless brilliance, exemplifies this radical shift. His journey is not one of blind rebellion, but of intentional transformation, a journey that demands that you tear down the walls of expectation and build something uniquely your own. But what does it truly mean to break free? It means stepping away from a life where every decision is made for you, where your dreams are quietly eroded by the safe, unremarkable choices of everyday existence. It means reclaiming your power to decide who you are and what you wish to become. It means looking into the mirror and daring to see not the person the world expects you to be, but the person you were always meant to be. Breaking free requires courage, the kind of courage that pushes you to defy not just external authority, but also the internal voices of doubt that have been ingrained in you since childhood. It is about transforming fear into fuel, using every setback as a stepping stone toward a greater understanding of yourself. It means accepting that failure is not the end, but a necessary part of the journey towards a life unbound by limitations. The stories of history are replete with examples of individuals who dared to shatter their own chains. Think of the revolutionaries who cast off the oppressive yoke of outdated systems, or the artists who challenged conventional wisdom to create something transcendent. In every instance, the first step toward liberation was the realization that the only true prison is the one you build for yourself. Luffy's journey is a call to action. It challenges you to re-examine your own life, to question the conventions that have kept you confined, and to imagine a future defined not by limitations, but by endless possibility. The first step on this rebellious path is to make a choice, to decide that you are no longer willing to live by a script written by others. So, ask yourself, what is your code? What dream burns within you so fiercely that you would risk everything to pursue it? The answer lies not in the external validation of society, but in the quiet conviction of your own heart. When you choose to follow your own path, you join a lineage of free spirits who have refused to let fear dictate their destiny. This is the essence of the rebellion, a collective awakening to the fact that true power lies in the courage to be yourself. It's a revolution that starts from within, a quiet uprising that can change the world one bold decision at a time. And as you step off the beaten path, remember that every great journey begins with a single, defiant choice. Now, imagine standing at the end of your journey. You look back over the vast expanse of your experiences, the battles fought, the sacrifices made, the moments when you nearly gave up. And then, as the dust settles, a profound and unsettling truth dawns on you. There was never a singular destination, no final truth waiting to be uncovered. Instead, the journey itself was the revelation, the endless quest that gave meaning to every step you took. This is the ultimate truth of One Piece, that life is not about reaching a predetermined endpoint, but about the metamorphosis that occurs along the way. Every struggle, every triumph, every moment of despair and elation is a thread in the rich tapestry of your existence. The true treasure, the real One Piece, is the freedom to become who you are meant to be, the courage to live authentically, to challenge the confines of a preordained fate, and to embrace the limitless potential that lies within. But here lies the great paradox. The very freedom that liberates us demands that we take responsibility for our choices. It asks that we confront the uncertainties of life head-on, without the crutch of guaranteed outcomes or the comfort of familiar routines. In embracing this freedom, you discover that every moment of joy is intertwined with risk, every victory shadowed by the possibility of loss. And yet, it is precisely this delicate balance between triumph and failure that enriches your journey and imbues it with meaning. Luffy's quest is not a simple narrative of battles and victories. It is a living, breathing philosophy that reminds us that our lives are defined not by the accumulation of possessions or the attainment of power, but by the indomitable spirit that dares to dream beyond the confines of the ordinary. In every decision to rebel against the status quo, in every moment of defiance against the forces that seek to control you, there lies a spark that can ignite a fire of transformation within your soul. So, as you stand at the crossroads of destiny, consider the legacy you wish to leave behind. Will you be remembered as someone who followed the well-trodden path, content with the safety of certainty? Or will you be the one who dared to challenge the world, who broke free from the invisible chains, and who embraced the messy, beautiful, unpredictable journey of life. The sea of existence calls to you, its vast expanse promising endless adventure for those brave enough to step into its depths. The final, most powerful realization is this: the true measure of your life is not found in the destination, but in the courage to keep sailing, to keep challenging, to keep dreaming, even when the horizon seems endlessly distant. The ultimate truth is yours to claim. It is hidden within every choice you make, every risk you take, and every dream you dare to pursue. The question remains, will you answer the call? Will you cast aside the chains of convention and embrace the wild, untamed freedom that lies just beyond the familiar shore? The journey is yours. Freedom is real. And in the end, as the wind fills your sails and the open sea beckons, you will come to understand that the greatest treasure of all is the unyielding spirit of adventure that resides within you.